Hello. Look, a Spidey wrench. I got it second hand. It's definitely used. No box, nothing. Not the very best choice for it. But I was getting the job done fine before I decided I should make a video about it. It works. In other news, I have completed this sheath here. Let's take a look. The retention is good. No rattle. You can kind of get some clicks out of it or whatever, maybe, if you fiddle. But, yeah, basically functioning as intended. Such that even it can be pretty hard to pull out just like this. But what I found is that, yeah, two-handed it's a lot easier on the dangler there, but if you snug the leather down a little bit... Oh man, this is tricky. Yeah, there we go. See? I'll do that again. Got my second hand involved. So, we're in there tight. Not coming out. Just snug that down. And then out it pops. No resistance. The knife is great. I refinished the handle. You can still see the super glue there. Well, maybe it'll turn invisible, but I think that shiny patch will always be there because of the super glue. Which is why I was tempted to try epoxy, but hey, who cares? Whatever, you know. Great knife. So this is fun. If I can get it to, where's the light coming from? See that? It's so freaking thin down there. That's me running my finger over the area. It's so paper thin. That's paper thin wood, but with a nice thick layer of epoxy on top. So you can't see it from this side. You can see the seam there. That popped open while I was fitting. Yeah, it's been rinky-dink. The thing kept getting smaller. That was something I've learned. And of course it would, because it was green wood. But it shrunk so much when I put the first layer of epoxy on. You know, it was supposed to continue the line of the knife, but you can see it's shrunk in. Anyway, it's fine like that, you know, it's fine that it's a little thinner than the profile of the knife. That makes the knife fit well. But it's not perfect. Maybe I'll have to make another one sometime. It is good enough. So, maybe have a look at some other stuff I got in my pockets. Boca Leopard 2. Damascus blade made from the barrel of a Leopard tank. There's a whole backstory. There's a thing that should fit there. It was down here. This is secondhand as well. And I had a real issue just changing the clip around. When I took these two screws out, that worked fine. But when I took the ones out that were on this tab here, that was down there, well, rather when I tried to take them out, they stripped. Both of them stripped. I think they may have been partially stripped from the previous owner, and that may have part of the reason. You know, it could have something to do with them letting go of the knife, right? They wanted the pocket clip the right way round. They tried to do it. The screws went brink, and so they put it away dissatisfied, and then never used it, and then they decided to sell it. That's my pure speculation, right? For all I know, they were just, came like that from the factory, and they were just in tighter. I don't know, but they stripped, and in the process of then drilling them out, well, one of them I managed to get out using the rubber band method. You snug a rubber band over the tip of your driver bit there, and that'll close the gap. But on the other one that wasn't working, I had to drill it out. And finally I had this open, clamped in a vise, and I was prying off the pocket clip over the drilled out remnant of the screw there. And when it finally popped off, my hand slipped and I stabbed myself. Oops. I stabbed myself good and proper in the pinky finger there. It's a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, we've made that special connection, this blade and I. And it's interesting kind of geometry, you know, this kind of mid to low saber grind, quite thick. It's kind of a lazy cutter, as it were, but it's extremely sharp. So it's a nice whittler, actually, quite nice. Kind of feels like using a Scandivex. Also, the ergos are great, you know. It's quite squared off, but there are no harsh edges, no protruding tabs, choils, and annoying stuff. So, that's a great knife. Early days for me in this knife, but we're getting on. I got this little, oops, just to switch it on while I was, yeah, carry that with me. Pocket mini saw. I'll come back to this in a minute. Let's see what else I got in here. An orange clipper lighter. And a chestnut bone mini trapper. Shout out to JC Mountain Ajar. He's carrying his mini trapper for a week. I did some work on the spay blade. Had this really rounded, nice rounded tip on it. That's excellent for scraping out the bowl of a spoon. But of course it was rather thick and not that sharp. So I ground out the hollow on the Tormac. Trying to show you the scratches. They're not coming up. There we go. Very nice and scratchy. Straightened her out a little bit. Definitely could do with some tidying up in the hollow there, but the edge is straight and wicked sharp now. And I love this blade now. This little spay blade here. Great for whittling in public. You know, very unintimidating, but extremely sharp. And great for cleaning under your nails. that rounded tip, scraping out spoons, whatever. And this thing's cool. Kind of classic. Stainless. And that's nice. Ooh. The new Spyderco. Micro Jimbo in 15V. Really fidget-tastic, this one. I can fail it very easily. Not a lot of weight on the blade, so still figuring out the index and ring finger flick. But with the thumb, it'll bop out fine every time. And there we go. Yeah, get that closure there with the... And yeah, this thing is awesome. Reminds me of Captain Electro. Shout out to Captain Electro, because I know that he has one. And he used it in the first video I saw of his, where he was whittling a wooden sword. And I never found the knife that appealing, actually, the design. I'm not that wild about Spyderco knives, design-wise. But they're excellent knives. They really are. And some of them, I really do like the design, and then some of this one's growing on me. I'm starting to really love this thing. Yeah, I got it from the Lynch Northwest site with a Lynch clip. I'm pretty convinced their clips are better than most factory offerings. Okay, JC Mountain ajar. I was looking for a tech lock the other day on a knife shelf that I don't regularly visit, and I came up with this slip that reminded me of JC, because he's doing a love your slip kind of thing, and I wasn't really into slips, but this knife, actually, I put it in the pocket yesterday for a minute outside of the slip, and when I took it out and opened it, it was all gritty in the pivot. So maybe it's a kind of knife that needs a slip. Kind of a modern classic, liner lock, from a French mark named Perceval. It's not a very easy one-hand opener. So yeah, because I found the slip, I said, well, let me find the knife and give the knife some love and put it in the slip. So I started polishing the blade as well as sharpening up. Had more of a belt satin to start out. Very nicely satin blade. Then yesterday I took it upon myself to do some straightening, so that's from hitting with the carbide hammer. And this is fun. I commented this on my other slip video for JC, speaking about blade centering. So I hope we'll be able to see this. What's a good background? There we go. You can see that this is pretty straight. Yeah. The spine is true to the frame. And it wasn't before I intervened. I mean, obviously you could see I hit it with a hammer, right? So there's no way that I didn't do anything in hitting it with a hammer. And now look at the centering now. Yeah, this was probably about perfectly centered before in the closed position. But what's more important to me, how nice the knife looks in the closed position, or how straight the blade is to the handle when it's in the open position and I'm using it. Well, you see my point. My case rests. Have I got anything else in my left pocket? I can feel I got something else. Is it interesting? Oh, a little slingshot blank. Oh, here's This is a lilac one. For some reason I drilled out the pith. I think I did that because this was green and to stop it splitting. I found that earlier. Yeah, interesting. The Clipper. The Clipper lighter. From Spain, as far as I'm aware. Now, I don't know whether this one is manufactured in Spain. I'm reading it off camera. Flamagas, Clipper, patent pending. I don't know. I suspect that maybe the ones that they sell in the US are not made in Spain. Maybe made in China or something. It doesn't say Spain on it, from what I can see. But yeah, this is the Clipper that I'm familiar with for my whole adult life. I must have had hundreds of these things. And so I'd like to speak on it a little bit. One thing that is not as it was when I was a child is that they changed the shape of the striker. It used to be a wheel. Now it's this kind of, is that a 1, 2, 3, 4? Looks like a pentagonal kind of profile on it. And that's supposed to make it child-proof somehow, by the way. So the Clipper is fully rechargeable, yeah? You can refill the gas and you can switch out the flint. In case you didn't know. You unscrew that there and you can switch that flint out. Meaning that, you know, they can in theory last for a long time. And I've had some that lasted me for years. Also, this section here underneath the button is hollow. It's disconnected from the gas chamber here. So you can drill through here and put it on a lanyard. And when I lived in a squat house in Barcelona in the early 2000s, there was an issue because if you had a key, that was something you really wanted to hold on to. And also a lighter. Because if you're in a group setting and you hand your lighter over to someone, like as not, they'll end up putting it in their pocket, possibly accidentally, just because of the familiar feeling of having a lighter in your hand and then putting it in your pocket. So I made this hole and I attached the lighter to my keys, and I held onto that lighter and to my keys for about a year. And then one day the zip tie that united the two broke. And within an hour, I had lost my lighter and my keys. Now, the other day, I picked this up in just a local store. And this is what I would classify as a Chinese Clipper clone. So that was interesting to me. Although, actually, it wasn't Chinese. I think it says it's made in... Maybe it said on the sticker. I think it was maybe made not in China. The Philippines, Indonesia, something. Here you go. Basics. And this has an adjustable flame. But it also has the ability to recharge the gas and to change out the flint, which is why I say Clipper clone. You know, it even has a lot of the aesthetic cues, although it's a little different. So there we go. That was a fun digression. Yes. Also, while I was on that shelf looking for tech locks, I came upon this, and I think indeed that this had a tech lock on it. From probably 2-3 years ago, I bought this when I was still really into karambits and ring knives and stuff. So it's an angel fire. It's not very easy to read the etch, but that says angel fire knives. D2 steel. Actually, a really fun little whittler. Maybe I can put the camera on the stand. We could do some whittling demonstration here. try this. Oh, by the way, this is a trash pump. And in order to move that to the well around the back, I have to fix this little cart here. And because that's not nearly as fun as talking knives, I just thought I would just make a video instead. But here we are. So this, I guess I got it and I played around with it a little bit, and then I realized, well, you know, it's not very comfortable in the hand, it's not very whittly, blah, 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 blah. All of this was false, you know, because I got it out again and I started using it. And I mean, it's not tremendously comfortable in the hand, but I'm not holding it like this, for example. I probably wouldn't bother doing that, but you can get your pinky in here, or you can just go over the whole thing, and that little hoop there gives you a pretty good grip, you know. And grip it this way, use that chisel tip. And it's sharp, it's got a wicked geometry. It's kind of like the Spyderco geometry, actually. It's a very similar stock thickness and bevel height. But it's just done way more robust. The Spyderco is like ground to zero. And this has a significant primary bevel on it there, which some people call secondary bevel, but they're wrong. A lot of people do. Most people, apparently, in America. But anyway, they're wrong, and I've explained why in other videos. If anyone wants to hear the argument, you can ask about it in the comment section. I love writing long-winded comments. But yeah, that's, you know, it's very usable. But this is glorious. My wife helped me find the Ram 2500 dually. It got a little moldy inside the plastic bag, but you know, we're scraping it back to serviceability, so we're going to continue with that. I also actually took a photo of a Ram 2500. No, that was a 3500. That's what we're talking about. It should be a 3500 dually. Excuse me if I said 2500. It's my wife's truck. 3500 dually. Yeah, I saw one yesterday. Took a photo from the side. The bonnet is extra long on this. The hood, excuse me. The hood is very long, but instead of shortening it up, I think we're just going to make this a V16. Here's a chopstick. I've been making some chopsticks, and I mean, this knife is good for anything. You know, this will be a great chopstick whittler as well. But I have found that the thin, slicey geometry, such as on this Perceval, where did I put it? This kind of thing goes really nicely, or that spay blade. And I started doing a thing where I'm holding the knife and pulling the chopstick. I never really whittled like that before, but I was at the dance meet the other day, and in the break moments, I was, you know, find that I got nothing to do, so I pulled out a chopstick and a little spay blade, and so at the table I started whittling like this, you know, because if you're cutting like this, it feels like you're cutting towards someone. That seems like rude, you know. And if you're actually cutting towards yourself, even someone might look at you and think, oh, he's going to cut himself, you know. Oh, what's he doing? But like this, you know, it looks very elegant and controlled. And people seem to enjoy the fact that there was a dude there whittling. Well, I've gone on and on. But here, let's show you a bit of this one whittling as well. This thing is really cool. It really cuts. And I find this is really, I like working with this one just up here at the tip there. I mean, if you're doing this kind of thing, you can't be down there because it doesn't let you steer because of the width. But yeah, people will call this a Wharncliffe, and they're wrong. It's not a Wharncliffe. But it has the straight edge and the acute point of a Wharncliffe. So, you know, I would allow modified Wharncliffe, modified lamb's foot. It is what it is. Thanks for watching.